From the contributors to Inc.com, this is the Inc. Productivity Tip. Expert opinions, valuable insight, and helpful advice from today's top business coaches, thought leaders, and entrepreneurs. It seems like AI is in just about every conversation around the office these days, and today's Inc. Leadership Tip will continue that trend because, artificial intelligence is making great leadership harder to fake, because behind every optimized workflow is someone fixing what got lost. A decade ago, the New York Times published Charles Duhigg's article, What Google Learned from Its Quest to Build the Perfect Team. It chronicled an effort inside Google, codenamed Project Aristotle, which was a multi-year hunt to identify the key factors behind successful teams. Researchers tracked every variable that they could think of across 180 teams. Things like tenure, intelligence, friendship, personality mix, and even whether teammates ate lunch together. None of it explained why some teams hummed, while others, stacked with equally smart people, sputtered. The breakthrough came when Julia Rozovsky, an analyst on the project, stumbled onto Harvard professor Amy Edmondson's 1999 paper on psychological safety, which is the shared belief that people can speak up, ask questions, admit mistakes, and challenge ideas without fear of punishment. Duhigg wrote, "It was as if everything suddenly fell into place. Psychological safety was far and away the most important team dynamic that Google found." On stage at the recent WorkHuman Live conference, Edmondson recounted how her paper sat in Administrative Science Quarterly for 17 years without making its way into the corporate bloodstream. And then Google found it. Duhigg slapped a clicky headline on it, and suddenly it was plastered all over culture memos and leadership decks. So, with AI pressure testing nearly every assumption about how work gets done, Rebecca Hines asked WorkHuman CEO Eric Mosley a modern version of Google's question: what separates effective leaders now? And has AI changed the recipe? He said, not yet. According to Mosley, the signals that predict leadership have not changed since generative AI gripped the workplace. WorkHuman's new tool, Future Leaders, analyzes employee-to-employee recognition data using AI to spot high-potential leaders years before they reach senior roles. So far, the patterns it's surfacing look familiar. Mosley expects that to change, though. AI capabilities will eventually show up as predictors of leadership potential. As Bob Sutton and Hines have written, you cannot lead an AI transformation if you do not know how AI works. For now, the strongest markers are still human. Great leaders still protect psychological safety in the age of AI. Now, that includes a leader's ability to cultivate psychological safety. Without it, bad news gets sanitized and sugar-coated as it climbs the org chart. The rough spots get sanded down, the warnings get hedged, and the disappointing results no one wants to deliver get quietly scrubbed away. AI adds another coat of polish by airbrushing half-baked ideas, hollow claims, and hand-waving into crisp, confident output in seconds. Leaders need people close enough to the work to call out when the shiny new AI workflow is not creating real value, when it fails on contact with real customers, edge cases, messy handoffs, and legacy systems, and they need to make it safe enough to say so. Psychological safety is also the soil for what Edmondson calls intelligent failures. Far from sloppy mistakes, these are the productive failures that come from experimenting, finding out what flops, and then learning why. The leaders who are furthest along in their AI transformations often peg the failure rate for AI experiments at 70 or 80%. They treat this as the price of doing real experimentation and real learning with a disruptive technology. When those intelligent failures happen, it's often because the workflow or process on paper did not match reality. The real system of work ran on duct tape and back channels and human heroics. Those human heroics are often performed by what researchers call boundary spanners, the people who move information across silos, translate between teams, and pull in the right voices before decisions get stuck. Mosley called them allies. They are the glue. Babson's Rob Cross has found that 3 to 5% of employees account for between 20 to 35% of value-added collaboration in an organization. Many boundary spanners live in that tiny slice of the organization, the people everyone depends on, even though their influence doesn't show up in the lines and boxes of the org chart, and oftentimes they go unrecognized. Boundary spanners belong at the center of your AI rollouts because they work across teams and functions. They see the coordination work that most AI transformations miss. They notice where context gets lost, where handoffs break, and who ends up cleaning up the mess. They're one of the best defenses against AI slop because they don't just see the productivity gains from blasting out more AI-generated work. They see the downstream mess everyone else is forced to clean up. How about another leadership signal that has not changed? And that is grit. Angela Duckworth says that grit isn't just about trying harder. It's a 1-2 punch of perseverance and passion, the conviction that the hard thing is worth doing. AI can strip away the productive struggle that builds passion, wrestling with a bad first draft until you discover what you actually think, sitting with a problem long enough to notice the blind spot you've been missing, defending a half-baked idea until you find the holes in it. The work gets done, but the thinking that makes it yours does not. When the work no longer feels like yours, you are more likely to abandon it at the first sign of resistance. Great AI-era leaders don't just ask, "What can we automate?" They ask instead, "What should people still have to wrestle with, even if AI can technically do it for them?" So, is this the end of leadership theater? Many of the hallmarks of great leaders are hard to see, right? Who makes it safe to challenge a flawed idea before it ships? Who connects two ideas that seemingly do not belong? And who keeps a frustrated star from quitting? So, organizations reward what's most visible, the person who talks the most, the tallest person in the room, and the one with a calendar stuffed to the brim. AI will not put an end to leadership theater anytime soon. Leaders are already reaching for a new set of props, like AI washing, slapping AI on old job titles, and token maxing, rewarding how many AI tokens someone uses, not whether the work is any good. As AI surfaces more of the real signals of leadership and team performance, there is a more hopeful possibility. The real leaders become easier to identify and easier to reward. The performers run out of places to hide. That's all for today. This expert opinion was written by Rebecca Hines, author of Your Best Meeting Ever. For more expert opinions from today's top business coaches and thought leaders, go to Inc.com. Enjoy your weekend, and be sure to come back next week for more helpful tips from Inc.